When you think of the greatest love story of all time, what do you think of? Chances are you're thinking of this: Romeo Montague and Juliet Capulet, two star-crossed lovers, forbidden love, a tragic death, a romance so epic they were willing to die for each other. But what if I told you that all of that, the entire pop culture legacy, is based on a massive misunderstanding? What if I told you that William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet is not a love story? No. This is a story about teenage impulsiveness, a tragedy about bad decisions made by hormonal kids and enabled by irresponsible adults. This is not a story about love. It's a cautionary tale about why you shouldn't marry someone you met 3 days ago. Before we meet our protagonists, we need to understand the world they live in. Verona, a beautiful city where the public scenery is street brawls. The play opens not with love, but with a stupid argument between servants. Immediately we see this city is poisoned by an ancient grudge between two families, the Montagues and the Capulets. And this is adult failure number one. These two families hate each other because, well, nobody really remembers. They just know they're supposed to hate each other. They've created an environment, a pressure cooker of hate, where violence is normal and healthy communication is impossible. And Prince Aeschylus, the ruler of the city, he's basically an ineffective principal. He shows up, yells, "If you fight again, I'll execute you," and then leaves. He's treating the symptom, not the disease. Into this pressure cooker, we get our first main character, Romeo Montague. When we meet Romeo, what's he doing? Taking a romantic stroll, writing poetry for Juliet? No. He is moping in a dark forest, crying over a girl named Rosalind. That's right. For the entire first act, Romeo is in love and dying over someone completely different. He describes himself as drowned in tears, saying cheesy lines like, "Oh, heavy lightness, serious vanity." He's the kind of guy who posts fake deep quotes online and thinks he's profound. Benvolio, his cousin and the only sensible one, basically says, "Hey man, you just need to get out and meet someone else." And that's exactly what they decide to do. They hear about a costume party at the Capulet house. Romeo agrees to go, not to cause trouble, but because he heard Rosalind will be there. Remember this, Romeo goes to the party with the sole intention of chasing a girl who is not Juliet. This is crucial, as it shows his state of mind. He's not looking for a soulmate. He's looking for anyone to fill his teenage emotional void. To really understand the impulsiveness, we need to look at the timeline. Most movies make it seem like this takes place over weeks, or even months. Wrong. The entire play, from start to finish, happens in less than 5 days. Let's break it down. Sunday night, the party Romeo, wearing a mask, sneaks into his enemy's house. He instantly forgets Rosalind, who he was dying for 5 minutes ago, the second he sees Juliet. What does he say? "For I ne'er saw true beauty till this night." Really, Romeo? What about Rosalind, who you were just weeping over? They meet, they talk, they kiss. They don't even know each other's names yet. Immediately after, they learn the terrible truth. The other is an enemy. What would be the rational response? "Wow, that's a shame. Nice knowing you. Good luck." But this is Romeo and Juliet. Their response? Sunday night later. The balcony scene. Instead of going home, Romeo, impulsively, climbs the wall and trespasses in the Capulet garden. This isn't romantic, it's stalking. He overhears Juliet talking to herself, and when he reveals himself, what happens? Ironically, Juliet is the rational one, at first. When Romeo starts swearing his love by the moon, she stops him. And she says, the key line, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden. She knows. She recognizes all the red flags. But then, a few seconds later, she's the one who proposes marriage. That's right. They decide to get married the next morning. They have known each other for a few hours. Monday morning, the secret wedding. Romeo runs to Friar Laurence, and here we have adult failure number 2. Friar Laurence is the adult. He should be the voice of reason. When Romeo comes in and says, hey Friar, I'm over Rosalind. Now I want to marry this girl I met last night. The friar's response should have been, go to your room, Romeo. But no, the friar, in his arrogance, thinks, maybe this impulsive, secret, and illegal marriage between 2 minors will be the thing to end their family's ancient grudge. This is the worst logic in history. The friar even contradicts himself. He tells Romeo, wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast. And then he marries them anyway. He knew Romeo was just loving with his eyes, not his heart, but he went along with it. He gambled the stability of the entire city on a half-baked plan. Up to this point, their impulsiveness has just been silly, but now it turns deadly. Monday afternoon, the brawl. It is still Monday. They have been married for a few hours. It's hot. Everyone is cranky. Mercutio, Romeo's best friend, a loudmouth, and Tybalt, Juliet's hot-headed cousin, meet in the street. Tybalt wants to talk to Romeo for crashing the party. Romeo, now secretly related to Tybalt, tries to make peace, but he does it in the vaguest way possible. Hey Tybalt, the reason I love you, you just wouldn't get it. This terrible communication just confuses and angers Mercutio. Mercutio thinks Romeo is a coward. He draws his sword. Tybalt and Mercutio fight. Romeo, in a clumsy attempt to stop it, jumps between them. This blocks Mercutio's view, and Tybalt stabs Mercutio fatally under Romeo's arm. Mercutio dies, uttering the famous curse, a plague of both your houses. And this is the single most defining moment of the play. Romeo has a choice. He can grieve. He can respect the law which the prince laid down. He can honour his new wife by not murdering her cousin. What does he do? He throws all reason out the window. Love, peace, forget it. In an impulsive rage, he hunts down Tybalt and kills him. In one moment, Romeo destroyed everything. He just murdered his wife's cousin on their wedding day. He is now banished from Verona. This was not fate. This was a choice. A terrible, impulsive choice. Things escalate quickly. Tuesday, everything falls apart. Juliet's dad, Lord Capulet, is adult failure number 3. To try and cheer his daughter up, because he thinks she's crying over Tybalt, not her banished husband, he decides to force her to marry a man named Paris. And the wedding will be on Thursday. Just so you're keeping score, Sunday she meets Romeo, Monday she marries Romeo, Tuesday she's promised to Paris, and Thursday she has to marry Paris. Juliet, in desperation, runs to Friar Laurence. And the friar, instead of doing the right thing, like confessing, facing the consequences, and telling the parents, hey, they're already married, you have to deal with it, decides to double down on his stupidity. He comes up with the worst plan in human history, TM. He gives Juliet, a panicking 13-year-old, a vial. Drink this. It will make you look dead for 42 hours. Your parents will bury you in the tomb. Meanwhile, I'll send a letter to Romeo. He'll come, and when you wake up, you two can run away to Mantua. Let's just analyze this plan. What could possibly go wrong? The poison could actually kill her. It might not work at all. She could wake up alone in a tomb full of dead bodies, which she is terrified of. The letter to Romeo might not get there. Other news of her death might get to Romeo first. Number 5 is exactly what happened. Friar Laurence's letter gets held up by a plague quarantine, an ironic detail. But Romeo's servant, Balthazar, who knows nothing of the plan, sees Juliet's funeral. He rides to Mantua and tells Romeo. What is Romeo's reaction? Juliet's dead? Okay, I'm going to go buy poison, ride back to Verona, and kill myself next to her. Not a second of doubt, not one question, not, this is weird, I should check with Friar Laurence, the only person who knows about my marriage. No, just one impulsive, self-destructive reaction. He doesn't even take a day to grieve. Thursday night. The tomb. Romeo gets to the tomb. He finds Paris, who is there to mourn. What do? Talk? No. They fight, and Romeo impulsively kills Paris. That's his third kill, if you're counting. Romeo enters the tomb. He looks at Juliet. And this is the most heartbreaking part. He notices she doesn't look dead. He says, "Ah, dear Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? Death, that hath sucked the honey of thy breath, hath had no power yet upon thy beauty." He is saying, wow, you still look alive, your cheeks are still red. And then he drinks the poison anyway. He was so close to the truth, but his impulsiveness blinded him. He dies. Seconds later, Friar Laurence finally arrives. Too late, of course. Juliet wakes up. She sees Romeo is dead. The friar panics, and in his final act of adult failure, he runs away. He abandons a 13-year-old girl who just woke up in a tomb full of corpses. And Juliet, with no one left to turn to, follows suit. She kills herself. 6 people are dead. Mercutio, Tybalt, Lady Montague died of grief. Paris, Romeo, and Juliet, all in less than 5 days. Is this love? Love is patient. Love is understanding. Love is communication. Love is working through problems together, not creating them. What Romeo and Juliet had was not love. It was infatuation. It was teenage rebellion. It was the thrill of the forbidden, amplified by a hateful environment created by the adults around them. They weren't star-crossed lovers, defied by fate. They were impulsive kids who made a series of increasingly bad decisions, and not a single adult in their lives was responsible enough to stop them. Shakespeare was too smart to write a simple love story. He wrote a social commentary, a critique of pointless feuds, a warning against blind passion. The reason we romanticize it is because the idea of loving to death sounds grand. But the reality of the story, when you actually read it, is just messy, foolish, and tragic. Friar Laurence said it himself right at the beginning, and it's the true message of the play. These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die, like fire and powder, which, as they kiss, consume. It's not a recipe for love, it's a recipe for disaster. And that is why, over 400 years later, Romeo and Juliet is still the greatest tragedy of impulsiveness ever written.